welcome to Radio Sensation. I'm your host, Dan. And in this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at Illustrator's magazine, issue 30. Came out in 2020. It's published in England. And it is an issue almost entirely devoted. Actually, I think every single thing in it, except for maybe some reviews, are all about the men's adventure magazines, the men's sweat mags. And now I've covered several books about the history of the men's sweats before, known for their fabulous covers, great inside illustrations, and occasionally even well-written stories. This magazine serves as a great introduction to that. Now, it is kind of an expensive magazine because it's printed so very, very well. And, it's from England, so it actually costs as much as some of the books I talked about. But I will say it's the reproductions are fantastic throughout the issue. The articles are short, but very, very well written. I think it is a great introduction, and I'll flip through it real quick, and you can get an idea about whether or not this is for you. The first thing in here is an article on the great illustrator Mort, and I hope I'm saying this right, Künstler. Mort has had a whole book put out by the Men's Adventure Library, Bob Dice and Wyatt Doyle, an American publishing company that is devoted to reissuing books and magazines and stuff covering the men's adventure mags, the men's sweats, and they have put out a whole book on Mort. But this is a nice look at his stuff. He did covers and he did the inside illustrations. I love seeing the inside illustrations. A lot of time they put more details. It would probably be too distracting on a cover. And sometimes there's more violence or even more nudity on these inside illustrations than there were on the covers. And you can usually tell, you can see the color palette between a cover and the inside where, because it's different medium that they're being printed on, different types of paper. Great pictures here. Great, my favorite thing in the men's adventures are animal attacks, and occasionally they would have like cryptoids, like Bigfoot or something like that. Those were always my favorites. So when I see stuff like that, I love it. He's going to try and climb up, use these vines to climb up away from the alligators. Little does he know there's a leopard up there waiting for him. That's a real double indemnity there. Again, this is a nice inside illustration. That's a great shot there of the helicopter. Escape. Great stuff. Great stuff. I mean, his stuff is really action-packed, and there's really usually a lot of feeling of motion in some of them. There's the occasional static figure, I think, in some of his work, but generally, man, this stuff is great. And he uses the same couple of models for all these different characters, but he still makes them look. You might notice the same face in some of these pictures, but within an illustration, you're not going to see the same face twice, and yet even though he's using the same model for some of the poses, including himself. Yeah, like this. I mean, obviously, this is like something out of a movie. Actually, when these were taking place, rarely did movies have the budget or the capabilities to do a scene this over the top, this dramatic, this angle kind of thing. This is, so great stuff all the way around. There's some more great animal attack pictures. Lifeboat and raft theme. She seems to be pretty happy about the guys roughing each other up. So like I say, a lot of good art by Mort there. Oh, that's a great one. Great animal attack one. Fantastic. Wow. Front row seats. Man, that's frightening. That's a great one. You know? And that's the kind of thing that's so hard for them to do in a movie, to get the animals to react right. Although nowadays they'd probably just CGI it all in, so they could probably do it pretty easy. And then here's an article. This is an overview, and this is by Bob Dice, Robert Dice, the guy who's the co-editor of this Men's Adventure Library books. And I've mentioned them before, and I'll mention them again. You should definitely check their stuff out. A lot of great stuff. I highly recommend their Animal Attacks volume. You know, they have a book that collects a bunch of those together. They also have a Cryptoid volume. They have a Shark Attacks volume. And they have a lot of individual books about different artists. They're a great resource for finding great stuff like this. And, you know, Bob really knows his stuff. So, and again, a bunch of great illustrations from a bunch of great different artists. Man, these women look sweaty in this picture, don't they? Oh, another great Animal Attacks one. You know, I used to, I liked the Tarzan movies when I was a kid because they were almost monster movies, because the animal attack part makes them all almost like, there's one, I can't remember which of the Tarzans has it in. There's one of the old Tarzan films that has a really over-the-top gorilla attack when somebody falls into a pit with a giant gorilla. That I'll think of it later, of course, after I'm done here. But, man, these are some good shots here. And, of course, the deadly iguanas that are going to eat them alive. And like I said, sometimes they veer into almost fantasy horror stuff. Those are gill men. And there's another great gorilla attack one. And you know, those crabs, they're always trying to, those coconut crabs, always trying to eat you alive. Oh, here's an ad for the Men's Adventure stuff. And here's the book about Mort that they did. Weasels Rip My Flesh was the first one they put out. There's the cryptozoology one. That's what it's called. And there's the animal attack one. And there's a bunch of the different ones there. And here's Earl Norman. Now, Earl Norman worked for the Sweat Mags, but he also did covers for the Marvel Comics, their black and white magazine line. Marvel had did so they could get away with more stuff. They had Har, and they had Savage Sword of Conan, and Norem did some fantastic work for them. Really brutal. I mean, those are great. You know, this is some fantastic stuff. Marvel Super Special number 10. This is Star-Lord, played in the Guardians of the Galaxy by Chris Pratt. You see, handled a little differently there. More Men's Adventure stuff. I like her pose. I like that pose for her a lot. That's great. Oh, and this man, there's a lot going on in that. I love it. This is a wild shot. Look at all these dead guys laying all over. There's a guy in a Popeye mask that got killed, a guy in a Goofy mask dead, Winnie the Pooh got shot. Donald Duck is going down in a blaze of gunfire, though. This is one that was done for one of the Marvel magazines. It's got the Marvel copyright on it, but I don't recognize that one. But there's one of the Savage Sword. There's two of the Savage Sword ones. He did some great stuff for them. More Savage Sword. An interior illustration. That's really cool. That's really cool. Masters of the Universe. Starboard cover. This is for Golden Books. It was done for. Jeez. That's for the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. That was their black and white magazine that took all their Kung Fu stars from their regular 4-color comics and put them in the black and whites. This is another one from one of the black and white monster mags. Some really good, just tremendous stuff. I don't think he's got a book of his own. Or he might. I'm trying to think. Anyway, so that's the issue of illustrators. Like I say, there's entire books out there that cover this stuff. I think this is a fantastic issue. Great illustrations were chosen, and they're reproduced really well. Hey, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and most of all, share it with your friends who might be interested. And thanks very much for watching.